Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. I really appreciate you watching the show. Thanks for liking these videos, hitting the thumbs up button for me. Please share the videos with people, as many people as you can. Continue getting the word out, waking folks up about what's happening with events in this country, with the economics. And please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We're growing the community. Let me talk about a story this morning. We got the producer price, the PPI, Producer Price Index data was released this morning. That's on the heels of yesterday. We got the CPI numbers. And I'll tell you this morning, the stock market is taking this to be certainly not bad news. As of recording this video, the market is up. The Dow's up over 300 points. S&P's up. The NASDAQ's up, continuing to make all-time highs. The 10-year seems to be holding about flat. Gold and silver are having, so far today, putting on pretty big gains as well. Gold's up, I think, over $24 a troy ounce. Crypto's the same thing. Bitcoin's up $2,000, $3,000, something like that, after falling a couple $1,000s yesterday. So everything is green. So the everything bubble continues to inflate on Wall Street versus Main Street. But if you look at, the CNBC, let's say, summary of the PPI numbers compared to what I saw on Zero Hedge, you get a little different picture. So Zero Hedge article, and CNBC said everything was tame and in line with expectations. Zero Hedge says core producer price inflation hotter than expected. Food costs surge. We discussed yesterday on the show relative to CPI, how the food inflation continues to be totally out of control in this country, as well as insurance costs, auto insurance, and things of that nature. Things that obviously on an everyday basis Americans rely on to support their family, right? Putting food on the table, paying for insurance for their automobiles, paying for medical insurance, all the things that are meaningful continue to go up, right? This is after yesterday's hotter than expected CPI. All eyes are on this morning's PPI print for dovish hopes that the blip in CPI is transitory. Because remember, yesterday the CPI showed that it was hotter than expected. This is headline PPI, Producer Price Index, was unchanged month over month. Cooler than the plus 0.1% expected, but it was up 1.8% year over year. That's hotter than the plus 1.6% rise, which was expected, but down from the upwardly revised 1.9%. So the stock market has read this to be positive, to be dovish, right? And of course, all eyes are again going to be on what is the Fed going to do at the next Fed meeting? Are they going to continue cutting rates, or are they going to pause? Or are they going to continue cutting rates but at a slower pace? It says, food and services surged. So consistent with what we saw in yesterday's CPI numbers, the PPI is also showing food and services surging. Of course, the things that we, everyday folks in this country, rely on and need, right? Says conversely, the indexes for let me say the index for processed poultry, it says, jumped 8.8%. What is going on with the processing of meat and the costs? I did a video, I think it was last week, on a lot of these meat packing facilities are going to be shuttered because of new EPA guidelines coming in 2025. I also discussed on yesterday's show the rise in meat, the rise in eggs, the rise in butter in terms of costs paid. But index for processed poultry up 8.8%. Prices for electric power and for motor vehicles also moved higher. It says core PPI jumped plus 2.8%. That's higher than the 2.6% expected. And core PPI includes food and energy, okay? As PPI, excluding food and energy, rose 0.2% month over month as expected. So again, the stock market got an as expected report, and it is off to the races today with the indexes. Another article came out just this morning, and again talks about sentiment. All right, University of Michigan sentiment slips in October as inflation expectations rebound. Okay, it says medium-term inflation expectations picked up in the preliminary University of Michigan sentiment data for October. This anxiety, it said, weighed on the overall sentiment survey as it declined from 70.1 to 68.9. And it says that's well below the 71, which was expected. Both the current conditions and expectations index also fell on the month. So again, looking forward in terms of sentiment, it's not consistent with the jubilee you're seeing in the stock market and in other markets, frankly, right now, financial markets, okay? It's not consistent. So again, time will tell. None of us have a crystal ball. Hindsight's always 20/20. But what you very well might be seeing here is a reflation, if you will, or a continued uptick in inflation. I got some comments on yesterday's video saying inflation is 20%. Look, we all know inflation is much higher than the published numbers, right? What we're told it is. But even the numbers that are coming out in the mainstream are showing that food and energy and insurance costs, all those things. Well, I don't know if I want to include energy, but food and insurance costs continue to skyrocket. It says, rather oddly, while inflation expectations, here we go, have softened in recent months, concerns about high prices remain extremely elevated. It says it seems the average American is smart enough to understand the difference between price levels, and that's what it actually costs you every day, and inflation, and that's the rate of change of that cost. Of course, the article says it's the former that matters to Main Street. And I've discussed the divergence between Main Street and Wall Street over and over again on this channel, right? And what the everyday citizens in this country and consumers are facing is very challenging. Very difficult times right now trying to put food on the table as food costs, eggs, butter, meat continue to rise. Yet we're being told inflation's tame, things are so great, the Fed can aggressively cut rates. We're going to have to see how this plays out, all right? Because you know that the powers that be, are trying to keep things as calm prior to election as possible. And then depending on what happens with this election, we're going to have someone blamed for everything that's being created now, right? We know that. So keep your eyes open, watch what's going on. Again, I appreciate you watching the show today. Please share this video and please subscribe to the channel. Again, I appreciate all of you. Talk to you soon. Bye.